Another coleus plant. This is a cutting from one of the coleuses that I have here. It's light as a feather. I watered this yesterday. Look at the sun coming through this window. Why are you not wanting to be straight? There you go. Over here, one of my favourite plants, the Oxalis triangularis. Did a recent video on this. The care of this guy, because it is quite tricky to look after. Don't get it looking this handsome, but when you do, it's absolutely beautiful. So we now have yet more bamboo shelving units. Anthuriums up here. This one, the Clarinervium. Always struggled with. Looks rubbish in winter, improves spring, early summer, starts to deteriorate. Late summer, looks a mess in winter. So the side is flowering. There are healthy leaves, but whatever. Another type of Anthurium, I think this is black cherry? Can't remember. This is in Lecker. Down to one leaf, they're all horrible, all the leaves. So as a last hurrah, I thought I'd try it in Lecker. So we'll see how that does. Another coleus plant, this is a cutting from one of the coleuses that I have here, and it's light as a feather. I watered this yesterday. Light as a feather, crying out for moisture. He's in a small pot, to be fair. He's not particularly root bound though, from what I can tell. It just always needs so much water. Let me know if you have the same problem. The Ficus benjamina, which has not really grown that much. I've had that 3 years. It's in a nice bright spot, but it still wants to stay small. Don't know why. And on this bamboo shelving unit, I've got most of my succulents and cacti. So it's always a good idea to kind of, if you can, group your plants near enough together in a similar spot, just so that you know the watering requirements of the plants in that area, so the light requirements as well will all match. I've got a sedum, a small sedum, which I'm really not keen on, to be honest. But I'll keep it. A cutting of a cactus, the mother plant is down there. An echeveria that has got some leaves that need pruning out, like so. They always go crispy. It's tricky to prune out the leaves without touching the healthy leaves, because you don't want to disturb the farina, white coating. The string of hearts, the mother plant, in one big tangled mess, whatever. So yeah, I try to keep succulents and cacti in there, but I do sprinkle in other plants like this Tradescantia tricolour, quadricolor, which is a bit of a big bushy mess. I'm a bit scared to prune it, to be honest. I probably will get around to doing that. Snake plant in this tin. When I set this up, loads and loads of folks were saying that the tin was going to combust because it's a tin. Because it's a snake plant, I don't water it that much, it's just fine. I did that last year. There's new babies growing out of that. Pepperoni watermelon, highly recommend that plant in a big, nice orange pot, burnt orange. Barrel cactus, I really like. That's growing quite nicely. Slow grow, but continues to grow. And then I've got a Fittonia, green Fittonia down there. This Caladium lindemii. They've all got funny names, haven't they? I underwatered that guy, so he was looking on death's door, all droopy and yellow leaves. I did have to prune quite a lot of leaves away, but he's growing back, because they always grow back. This one here is, whoops, overwatered. Always sat in a puddle. I've got anything to put it into. No, I haven't. I don't know why it's leaking so much, because the puddle isn't that big. But there must be a tight squeeze in there. Oh my god. What is going on with that? Pepperonia santorini. Healthy plant if you're not overwatering it. I will get round to emptying that at the end of this video. Cleaning up my carpet as well. Or this rug. It's an interesting little project. The snake plant Star Canyon granite in Lecker. We'll do a little experiment. brown and mushy. The mother plant of the Monstera albo, which is on a 20 trellis, highly recommended. Doesn't have to be a moss bowl that you put your plants on. It can be a wooden plank like this or a 20 trellis. Just encouraging the plant to grow vertically, and you do get more mature leaves just naturally. It's a slower process than with moss bowl, but it does still work. So I do recommend that. Details in the description. This one's a bit of a weird one. A floppy, really thin stem. So it's very floppy. It's resting against this wall here. So I do need to give him a support of some kind. No, he doesn't want to go back. There you go. The newest leaf is quite nice. I've struggled with this plant. Did wonder whether it had bugs or something. Doesn't seem to. Oh, he doesn't want to stay. I'll put a trellis on him after this video. Begonia red flame, beautiful. Looks like it's flowering. Don't amount to that much. Short-lived, maybe 3 days maximum. Peperomia raindrop, beautiful glossy leaves. Another Echeveria, Tradescantia teddy bear vine. I've got a fern, asparagus fern, which is nice. And then up here is the mother plant to my Monstera adansonii, the cuttings that I've been taking. He's been living in this pot for a good couple of years, and I think he might be a bit root bound because the top half is nice and healthy, nice deep green, and then down here we've got yellowing leaves, which is a sign that he's root bound. Always got some other issue. Maybe he's got bugs or something. I don't think he has. So yeah, somehow I'm gonna have to repot this guy. So we're in the corner of my living room here. So this is my desk where I make an absolute mess repotting my plants or doing propagations and stuff, because I always forget to use my tray, but never mind. Then we've got a console table here, which doesn't have anything in the drawers. So this is basically just a staging area for yet more plants. So we're a good 4 meters, 5 meters from the nearest window, my conservatory over there. So I do need a grow light to keep these plants happy. So I've got a floor lamp I've got from Argos here in the UK, and a 36-watt Sansi bulb in. When you're buying a bulb that's as powerful as that, you do need a light fixture that can handle that amount of power. You don't want to start a fire in your house. So that's what that provides. And then I've got 4 plants on here. 2 alocasias. I always tend to keep my alocasias underneath grow lights, particularly in winter. If you don't give them enough light, they tend to go dormant when they lose all their leaves, and then when the light returns, they sprout back up. I want to avoid that. Looks like this alocasia Watsonii, I think that's how you pronounce it, is a little bit on the struggle bus. It's having a lot more leaves than this it used to. Now it's down to 2 healthy leaves. That one's on its way out. So is that one. Not sure what's going on with this plant. There are a couple of growth points emerging. Might switch to semi-hydro and try that. Alocasia Fridays looking very healthy though. Lots of new growth coming through. They always lose a couple of leaves as they grow, but new ones should be coming along. And then I've got my Monstera adansonii. This is the cutting that I took from the mother plant, which is just over there. There's a new growth point emerging. That one's living in lacquer. And then in there, I've got my Paphos devil's ivy, the cutting that I took from somewhere. The idea here is that I wanted to grow up this trellis and then snake around my doorway so I can have all greenery on my doorway. So that's in the early stages of doing that. This is my office now. So I don't have too many plants in here, but I do have a bit of a propagation station here, or a rehab area, because these are basically the plants that look a little bit ugly. Mr. Sheffield isn't so keen to have so many ugly plants in the main areas of the house. So I've kind of dumped them all over here. I've got some Sansi grow bulbs shining over here to kind of bring them back to life. So up here, I do keep my orchids that finish flowering. I do keep them up here because they're kind of out of the way. They do look a bit ugly, but still nice and bright. Double aspect windows, southwest facing behind me. So lots of light. I do tend to get good leaf growth. So it's just letting them recharge their batteries, regrow the leaves, and I'll get them ready to send out a fresh batch of flowers whenever they want to, in a month or so, or a couple of months, something like that. So I've got a Philodendron Melanocrisis variegated edition here. That's the one that was sent to me in an unboxing video I did last year. It's still not growing that much. Looks reasonably healthy. This is a cutting that I took from that plant. Still don't want to unfurl properly. They always get ripped in the process. A cutting of my Nepenthes, waiting for that to get a move on and start growing. Like a slow grower. Looks like it is trying to grow some traps. Cutting of my Peperonia watermelon. Lots of new leaves, so that's good to see. Just pop them in soil and they'll grow new leaves. These are jade leaf cuttings, little tiny plantlets that they grow, each of those leaves. Very interesting. Ring of Fire, Philodendron. That one never looks handsome for me, which is why I've kind of tucked him away. The back of that. Back of the shelving unit, my prop box, and then I've got these coleus that I grew from seed. I do like coleus. I thought I would experiment to kind of get more colours and more variation in the house. So I've got some house plants, and I've also planted some outside in the garden. I planted them outside in the garden. It's been raining non-stop for a week, so it looks like they're a bit drowned out there. So hopefully they're going to be okay, because they are quite small. A nice red one. So yeah, should be good. Just coming out of the conservatory now. Living room is that way, obviously. Then we have this wall here, kind of an arched wall. So this bamboo shelving unit is kind of tucked in, so it's not getting any natural light. So I am relying on my grow light to keep these plants alive. I think they're doing a good job. So I've got the Samsung 3 different grow lights. The beauty of these is turn them on and off on a morning or evening. 12-hour timer. In an ideal world, I would have them on at least 14 hours, but 12 hours is fine. I suppose it does save on the electricity. I've got that one, and I've got another grow light just tucked underneath that at the bottom of the shelving unit here, keeping that fern alive. And he sure is alive. He's a big beast, isn't he? He's kind of taken over that shelf at the bottom. I probably do need to move it to allow him to express himself a bit more, but I think I'll just leave it.
You can't have too much of a good thing. That's why USAA has continued to grow for over 100 years to provide the military community with exceptional insurance and banking options. Because at USAA, we take care of our own.
This hotline, this is Hannah Berner.
Oh my gosh, hi.
You sound hot.
My skin is so dry, irritated, and itchy.
You're not being dramatic. This is your skin. Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream Medicated will give you relief in 5 seconds. Next. Hannah Berner here, putting on fires.
The shit this morning, and now my face is so dry and tight.
Okay, let me speak. Put a thin layer of Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream Medicated for faster barrier recovery. No, ma'am, that sounds like a real fire. 5 seconds skin discomfort relief. Kiehl's Ultra Facial Cream Medicated.
Garden of Life. Formulas for feeling alive. Hi. Mama. Oh, sorry.
I'm sorry, we'll be quick. Sorry, no changing tables.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't get out of work. Sorry. You're doing great. The world of parenting could use a lot less sorry and a lot more support. See how Gerber is lightening the load to create a more parent-friendly world at Gerber.com.
The green-orange plant up here, which doesn't like bright light. He likes medium light most. Otherwise, you tend to get browning leaves like so. And like this one here that I'll try and prune off without destroying everything. Does tend to do that. It does that anyway, as you can see. He's up here in quite a low light spot. But other than that, orange leaves, orange stems, green leaves, hence the name, and a beautiful plant. Not down there. Aglonema, can't remember the variety. This one's quite sensitive to this grow light. If it's too close, then it will send the leaves on a tailspin of yellow and brown. Do forget to water Don't forget to water your nepenthes like I did. All the leaves, well, a lot of the leaves went brown, and I lost quite a few pictures, traps. Still got some. A lot of them went brown and crispy, so I had to cut them off. The new one's on the way. Philodendron Brazil here, nice and bushy. Looks like that one's all green though. Just noticed that. So I've reverted back to its original form, which is the all green plant. The variegation has been added. I don't know whether it's been added artificially or not. If that's happening to your plant, just cut it away. Cut the green away. Let the variegated part of the plant come back. Otherwise the green will just take over the plant and just end up with a green plant. This is the Pothos Marble Queen. So if you have a plant that's this heavily variegated, then you can expect to see leaves like this one that I'll pull off, like that, with browning. Not doing anything wrong, it's just the kind of makeup of the plant. Because there's so much white in here, there's not enough chlorophyll for the plant to sustain that leaf, so it just goes brown, it just dies off basically. So it's just part of the course. You will lose leaves along the way, unfortunately, with that one. Beautiful Aglaonema tigres here, nice glossy leaves, dead easy to look after, one of my favourites in the house. Looks like it is starting to flower. Don't amount to much, I probably will just cut them off. They only last a couple of days. So a nice beautiful ceramic pot. Do invest in ceramic pots if you can, because they do elevate your plants, I find. I've got a plant stand. It's an old school plant stand I've got in their antique store nearby. A Hoya Waetii here, which has its own dedicated light there. I'm in the habit of rotating it. Just feel quite heavy, like I've overwatered it maybe. I do need to check that. Beautiful leaves. So the wall continues, and I didn't want just an empty space here underneath this picture, so I popped this console table. I do have some bits and pieces in here, all like my planty stuff here, like my coolers and stuff, my moisture meter. So yeah, there's a mix of plants and kind of propagations that I've got on here. I do like these. These are by Treleaf. Got lots of products by Treleaf. Kind of little propagation cups, I guess you would call that. So instead of having something like this with murky water, just pretties it up a little bit. So I've got some pothos cuttings in there. Alocasia watsonii. This is the corm that I took from the mother plant, which is over there. It's just sprouted a new leaf. It's absolutely beautiful, that does. I'm not particularly keen on this philodendron, probably my least favourite philodendron, because the gap in between the leaf nodes is too big. Outgrows any support you put it on. So I've got this Treleaf trellis, it's just outgrowing it, so it's annoying. The Alocasia dragon scale, which is healthy, with a few brown leaves here. But this is living in perlite as a semi-hydro setup. Don't necessarily recommend perlite. I find that it tends to be a bit mushy for the roots. I'm sure it's hindering the growth of the plant. But if you compare to this one, which is in pond is just a fancy word for stones, basically. The growth is much more vibrant. And the roots, you can't argue with them roots, can you? So that is nice and healthy. So I'll pop that back. Top tip with alocasia is to not have them in too bright a light, so I have to grow like too close to it, because I saw this online, if you have it too close, then the leaves tend to droop down. So if you have it in kind of a good distance, then it tends to stay a bit more upright. Down here, another beautiful plant. Oops. This is begonia, Rex begonia, that is flowering. That one's just fallen off. Beautiful plant this is. I reset this last year in my old house. You do get this. That's just life, isn't it? That's just plant life. And then I've got little cuttings of these as well that I took from leaf cuttings. I did that in a task video. And then over here, my Ficus elastica, Taneki. I've once overwatered this, so I lost a lot of leaves that went brown. It does seem to be recovering with lots of new growth. Don't want to have too many plants. If you're struggling to get out of the door, the back door to your house, into the garden, because plants are in the way, then maybe you do. Maybe I've got too many. So, what have we got here? So, this is the TVs there. Sofas are just there. Not sure where you can see them. Southwest facing window. So, we'll start with this Florida Beauty, I think it might be. Philodendron. It's a variegated plant that I've got growing up this moss pole. Looks like it's got a friend growing up this moss pole. But yeah, this is a really beautiful plant. I'm hoping I've not lost the variegation with the latest leaf here that's unfurling. We'll let that do its thing. My favourite plant at the moment, back here, hopefully you can see it, is it's just sold to me as a Pothos Devil's Ivy, but I'm not sure it is because the variegation is too high, I think, for that. It might be a Marble Queen or something. I've got this growing on a moss pole, one of the rare success stories of one of my plants on moss poles, because the leaves are getting absolutely massive. They just keep getting bigger and bigger. That's the latest one. Compared to the leaves at the bottom, which are much smaller. By the time we get up to here, the stems up to here, I reckon the leaves are going to be nice and juicy, which is what you want to see. Over here we have the rubber plants, the classic one, not variegated. I prune regularly, and I get new stems branching out, which is what you want to do. Two branches there, two there, three here. Maybe more here. You want a nice big bushy tree-like structure. Another coleus. Let's see if this one's dry. Because I only watered him 2 days ago. Quite light, but not that dry. There's a lot of roots in there actually. Maybe they need repotting. But they look absolutely stunning in summer. Look at the colour on that. Love it. Pothos Devil's Ivy, or one of these classic burlap moss poles. Not too keen on. A mixed Pothos planter, a smaller one. Got all sorts in here. Pothos Enjoy, Devil's Ivy, Marble Queen, Satin Pothos, Philodendron Brazil, Neon Pothos. Did I already say that? But yeah, it's a good selection of plants in there. I think 5 different types. So that's loving life there. Umbrella tree, which does need, I think, cutting back because it is leaning to one side. So I do need to sort that out. Back here we've got a snake plant. I'm trying to give this lots and lots of light to keep the variegation. They do like full sun, snake plants. They don't like low light. Kind of a bit of a myth, that is. Aloe vera in a brighter spot, looking a bit healthier. There are still some browny, kind of grey leaves. Not sure what's up with that. Maybe it needs a drink or something. Coyolisa back here that wants to cling on to anything he gets his hands on, like this one. I think he wants to attack this Pothos over here. And then finally over here we've got this Pothos Enjoy, the mother plant I've taken multiple cuttings from. So around the TV where we watched the latest episode of The Last of Us, we've got covered in plants, of course. So I did just have that bench there with that selection of plants, and I did have this money tree next to it, as well as this orchid, but something was missing. It wasn't quite planty enough, so I added this extra long shelf above this TV to put more plants on top. The idea is to have lots of trailing plants, kind of trailing down. So I'm achieving that somewhat, but somewhat I'm not as well. So we'll start with this bench down here, Ficus elastica Taneki, that I've cut back heavily to get it to branch out. One of the easiest alocasias that I've ever grown, the Alocasia Platinum. It's beautiful as well. Lovely, kind of silvery, glossy leaves. I don't think I've lost a leaf. They're just dead happy, just sat there. a reasonably low light spot, quite far away from the window. It does have that grow light there. That's kind of getting spilled onto it, but not getting that much light at all, really. Philodendron Melana Chrysum. That one's in perlite. That was leggy, so I did cut that back recently. I've got a orchid there that I think I should pop in a brighter spot. I think that's finished flowering now, so I do need to put that in my office, I think, where I keep my orchids to kind of get them growing. So I've got another orchid here. I do like having, I should have another one here. I do like having orchids kind of around my TV. I think it looks quite nice. So in a recent orchid care video, I did talk about this one. And someone pointed out that it's growing a terminal bud. I didn't know anything about terminal buds, but doing a bit of research, if the flower spike, new flower spike comes out through the middle of the plant, where the leaves normally grow, that means that the plant is kind of going to eventually die, because it won't be able to grow any new leaves. So I think there's a genetic mutation rather than anything that I've done. Not your boy's fault. So yeah, that was quite interesting to find that out. Got the money tree here, which is growing new leaves at the top. That's on a plant stand. Always recommend the plant stand. And then
Extensionist Mascara by L'Oreal Paris for lashes that rise 5 millimeters closer to your brows. You'll want it.
What do you think about T-Mobile home internet only being $35 a month?
We need to take your mind off of this. Come check out my new man cave.
T-Mobile's got home internet, just $35 a month and guaranteed for 5 years.
Feeling Claritin Clear is like...
Is she?
Letting her imagination run wild even though she has allergies? Yeah.
Dental Life dog treats help clean teeth all the way down to the gum line. And it tastes so good, it just might be their new favorite treat. With Dental Life, it's never a bad time to treat their teeth.
Sprout Smith number 3. It's just another grocery store.
With fresh organic produce everywhere, it's a bit like a wellness retreat.
Sprout Smith number 45. They don't carry the weird stuff I'm into.
Oh, we've got your weird stuff covered.
Sprout Smith number 1. I'm not a Sprouts person.
If you like fresh finds and better for you discoveries, you're probably a Sprouts person.
And then this shelf above my TV. So like I say, I did want all trailing plants. So these ones are trailing, especially this guy, the satin pothos, which is a little bit too trailing. Reaches the floor. I should cut it back, I know that. But, I don't know, it was quite endearing. I'll probably see how far they will grow. Maybe they'll grow across the whole room. This is the kind of non-variegated edition of the Philodendron Brazil. Lichens, maybe? Can't remember. I've got a Pecoromia here, a trailing type. This will trail. These are cuttings of my purple Pallida, Triscanthia. So this will trail over here. This won't. This is a Caliphate Eldergrass. I probably will move that at some point when I find some more trailing plants to put here. This is a trailer, Triscanthia tricolor or quadricolor. This probably needs to be moved, although it does seem to, this is probably the healthiest it's ever been, so maybe it doesn't like that much light. What's it called? This is the Syngonium, green Syngonium. Green arrow plant. Monstera, this definitely isn't happening up here. I've got so many of them that I thought I'd just put one up there and see how it does in low light. Pecoromia angulata, Pecoromia obtusifolia variegated, that is in a pot, straight in a decorative pot. So yeah, I'm probably going to move out that one for more trailing plants. Just need to decide which ones are going up there. So I do have plants over here as well. At the corner of the room I could put a plant, basically put a plant. So I've got this old-fashioned table, it's a bit rickety, with used to have 4 plants on it, absolutely bursting, but Mrs. Sheffield wasn't too happy with that, so she took them all off, but I brought one back. She seems quite happy with this one. This is one of my orchids. lovely pinky, purpley flowers. So that was in my office in a brighter spot. But as soon as it started flowering, I moved it to a lower light spot. As a top tip for orchids, to prolong their blooms, just put them in a bit of a lower light spot, because the bright light increases their metabolism. So there's a selection of plants here. This one's an interesting one. A jade plant that is in semi-hydro. A little experiment to see how we do. Seems to be doing just fine. That's been in there a few months now. Tridescantia teddy bear vine. Nice bushy plant this is. Rapid grower. Easy to look after. It's dead interesting. A nice pot for it. These are good. These are by Trelleaf. They are 3D printed mats to save the wood underneath your plants. I definitely need these. The good thing is that they also act as like saucers, so the water can trickle in through there. So you get 10% off Trelleaf products, and their link is in the description to this video, as it always is in all of my videos. I do like Trelleaf products. I've got another plant in leca here, semi-hydro, a snake plant. Again, an experimentation to see how a plant that you can easily overwater, how they will do in semi-hydro. I might do a video on that at some point. And then over here, I've got my, I think I'll leave that. I've got my Buffos Enjoy. Looks like he wants to climb up the wall there. That's loving that spot with this grow light, fancy grow light shining over all these plants, and that Buffos Enjoy seems to be loving that spot very much. Really check out the first ever houseplant tour I did in this house by clicking on the video up here, so you can see all the changes that I've made. And I'll see you there.
Only Huggies hand inspects 38 million diapers to help little fighters win their fight.
Hello YouTube, my name's Richard, aka Mr. Sheffield. This is my home with all the plants in it. So come and have a look. Hope you enjoyed that architectural digest style intro that I did, just for a bit of fun. So yeah, welcome to my home. So last month I did a moving with 200 plants video on my channel, and in that video I promised I'd do a full houseplant tour of my house, because I wasn't really set up properly. So this is that video. So this is the kind of entrance to my house. You can call it a foyer if you wanted to be posh, but I don't like to be posh. I've not yet got any plants in here. I did have a monstera down there on this little old fireplace recess, but wasn't getting enough light because this is a kind of north-east facing position. It doesn't get much natural light at all. I did have some plants on there as well, but I moved it all into the main plant room. So I've got lots of questions to my moving home video about whether I was still in Sheffield, and yes I am, just about. So before, I was in the suburbs near the city centre of Sheffield, whereas now we've kind of moved to the outskirts, a bit more country. You'll be able to see that in my garden. I've got nice views of some rolling hills, which is very nice. So this is the hallway to the house. Behind you is the foyer, where we just were. So we can either go to the kitchen, or we can go down the hallway and into my plant room. And we'll go there first, I think. I call it the plant room, of course, but I'm not sure Mrs. Sheffield will be too pleased with that. But anyway, this is the living room. So, seating area with TV over there. Of Got a conservatory here, which gets the most light, which is where most of my plants are. Office behind that. And got this area here, which is quite a big area, but you don't really know what to do with. If you've got any idea of what I can put here, then do let me know. Just an empty space at the moment with some bits dotted around. So yeah, conservatory over there, so let's go and have a look. To give you a bit of an orientation, you just start to see the sun coming through, just about, onto my face, hopefully. So this conservatory faces south that way, southwest, and then west. The sun kind of sets behind me, rises over there behind the camera. So it'll come all the way down here and set over there. So that means this conservatory gets grey light pretty much all day, apart from the early morning, gets blocked off by those trees and buildings over there. So this is why I've got all my plants here, and I've bought a load of these bamboo shelving units, because I haven't really got any windowsills in this house. So I had to buy loads of these bamboo shelving units, which Mrs. Sheffield thinks makes it look a bit like a shop. Let me know if you agree with that. She might have a point. But got loads of these dotted around. Also got my dining table and my rug. Recently bought that, so I'm kind of using this as a formal dining area. So when we've got guests and friends over, we need a lot of seats to kind of eat, and we'll all sit on here because it's quite a large table. Otherwise we'll just eat in the kitchen day to day. So the first thing to point out is this beautiful amaryllis that is now in bloom. Gorgeous. I set this up, I planted it in I think it was my November chores video. So I planted that up and it just blooms beautifully. Got another couple as well. And then over here, a bit of a mixed bag here, because I've got my beautiful Monstera, Thai constellation, I'm trying to dote on as much as possible. So this is kind of on this plant stand here. It gets good exposure as the light comes through, particularly late afternoon. Shines on these leaves beautifully. Just wondering whether I need to move it a bit closer to get the best out of it. I've got a new Califea. I'm trying to avoid getting it to touch anything because I've had a bit of a pest issue with this guy. A few aphids on the newest leaf. Can't see as many anymore, so hopefully they're on the way out. So I'm trying to isolate that a little bit from the rest of my collection. And just a little area here where I keep a couple of my Califeas. I think that's a Macayana maybe. Is there a tag in here? There is the tag. Orbifolia. Califea orbifolia. And then I've got the classic green variety. Is there the tag in this one? There is. Califea medallion. Big beautiful green leaves. So these live just underneath this Monstera Thai constellation to kind of fit in this area nicely. On these bamboo shelving units there. So I've got this lovely begonia that I've had for a long while. I've recently thinned that out. Got a couple of propagations that I'll show you in a bit. Got a mixed pothos planter on here, which is looking absolutely gorgeous. Got 3 pothos in there. Satin pothos, devil's ivy, and a neon pothos. I've got my most hated plant, the old Chinese money plant. Looking pretty ropey on there. What else is there? I did have a plant in here that I think got attacked by something. Maybe aphids. Might be somewhere else, rehabbing somewhere. Got Monstera living in Leca. I'm experimenting with that. It's not really growing that much though, so I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong. I've got this rather large specimen, a purple Paliga, that is really grown quite a lot. It's filling in this space here nicely. Wanted to take over this Monstera deliciosa that I've got here. It's got a nice brand new leaf. I've got my Philodendron Florida Beauty that I recently used as an entry into a plant competition with some YouTuber friends. Watch that video if you haven't already. That's turning around nicely. Ooh, I've got my orchid here that's showing a new flower spike. So that's a bit slow in the making, that one. Got some dirty leaves that I need to sort out. I'm going to try and stand here so that the sunlight isn't in my face and causing a glare with the camera. But got this Monstera Peru, which is absolutely stunning variegated leaves. I recently put it on this moss pole. I unfortunately, I think you're losing the variegation. Not sure why. I think it must be an unstable variegation. So I've got 3 plants on moss poles here, which is a great way to get the leaves to size up. Florida Ghost variegated, philodendron again. So we're losing the variegation on that bad boy. Normally when you lose variegation, it's normally a sign it's not getting enough light. This one's still holding nicely though. It's a beautiful plant, very easy to grow as well. Philodendron Whippleway. I'm going to try and put that without breaking anything. There we go, got a nice jade. Got a little jade and a big jade there. Back and back here doesn't do much for me. Can never do that well with it. This is a new plant for me. Absolutely stunning plant. Look at it. Calathea, what's this one called? Calathea Trio Star, I believe. Could be wrong on that. It's got lovely white and pink colours in it. It's in a nice decorative pot. The decorative pot does make all the difference. And then, got another new addition down here, which I can't remember I think this is a tiger tooth? Oh, I do have the, sat in a bucket of water here. Yeah, tiger tooth. I need to empty that water after this video. Doesn't seem to be browning or anything yet. Interesting shaped leaves though. It just lives down there. It's a relatively new plant for me. My croton. So I recently chopped this back quite heavily. It was growing one long stem and I chopped it back and it's now growing, looks like 3 new stems. It's a good way to branch out a plant. I do it lots of times on my channel, showing that. Florida Pink Princess, philodendron. The leaves on this always feel a bit floppy. It doesn't seem to want to die or anything. Growing quite nicely. There's a new leaf appearing, so it does seem happy in there. A nice brightish spot. I've got a collection of monsteras that I've grown from cuttings, so they're kind of on my propagation station. And then down here, an aglaonema that I'm really not that keen on. But kind of lives down here. We'll see if we can get anything out of it. And around here, I've got my new bird of paradise, which is a bit of a struggle to walk around without knocking into this plant, the leaves, because it's so big. When you keep knocking into it, that's when you get the frayed edges of your bird of paradise. I'm trying my best to kind of push it out of the way, but it's a bit of a struggle to be honest. I did see a couple of white blobs on this plant, so I was wondering whether it's mealybugs, but they don't seem to be growing, multiplying on the plant. There's a new leaf there, there's a new one coming through, so that's a nice happy plant. Top tip for this plant is to give it as much sun as you can, and hopefully, as it matures, you might be able to get it to flower. Another bamboo shelving unit here. One of my favourite plants. It's very popular on the channel. Get lots of comments about this plant, the coleus. I don't know what variety it is. I've tried looking online. Chocolate cherry is the closest thing, but it's not quite the perfect match. This was given to me by Mrs. Sheffield's friend. Another monstera on the moss bowl. So there's one that I grew from seed. I grew 10 monsteras from seed and it started to it's starting to fenestrate, slits in the leaves. Nice good spot there for a monstera. It's lots of sun. Monsteras that can handle sun in my climate anyway, here in Sheffield. We've got another new plant here, a nice mustard pot. Can't remember the name of it whatsoever. A Caladian. With a very long name after it. Beautiful plant. Looks like a bit of a cross between aglaonema and diatomaceae. Gorgeous. More than monsteras that I've grown from seed. And then I've got an anthurium here. Anthuriums don't seem to do well under my care, but this particular type does. I think it's a dark mother. So I imported this from Asia. Did a video of that unboxing. It's in a nice box. And this one's giving me no bother whatsoever. It's even got an inflorescence there. Yeah, more bamboo shelving units. Mrs. Sherwood really does love them. But this is what I'm talking about with the anthurium. Not a happy bunny. Crispy brown leaves. There was a new leaf there, and a new leaf coming through there, and that appeared when I moved into this brighter spot. So it might have been a light issue. But it could be pests, or it could be a watering problem, or something or other. Not quite nailed the care of anthuriums. My little snake plant. I put into this tea tin. Lots of folks were worried about rotting the tea tin, or making it go rusty, but I rarely have to water a snake plant, so I think it should be okay. I'm not too attached to that anyway, really. Although Mrs. Shuffle might be. Transcantia, this is a relatively new addition to me, Peperomia watermelon, which I know lots of people struggle with, and some of the leaves are a little bit damaged, but this seems to be pulling through quite nicely. It's in a nice, I don't know what you call that, bronze-coloured pot, maybe. I recently repotted my cactus, which is a fun old job. Repotting a cactus, did quite well. In a nice terracotta pot. Cactus is one of the few plants that I put in terracotta, because alroids, or tropical plants, dry out too quickly in terracotta, unless you glaze them very well. This is a new plant for me. This is a Schismatologlotis. Ooh, what a mouthful. What a daft name that is. But beautiful plant. This looks very much like a peace lily with Bifidobacter variegation. The first thing I'll avoid, you need to water him quite regularly, and also need to rotate him. Just to make sure that all the leaves get good light, he doesn't face one side too much. Never really been a big fan of spider plants. I recently got this guy, and he's growing on me because he's got lots of these little pups. Quite a bushy little specimen. Looks nice and healthy there. So this spot, south facing, so it gets sun pretty much all day. It starts to set over there behind the camera. So normally a spider plant wouldn't do too well in direct sun, but it's in this spot here. It's got like a shelf above it, so it is protecting it from the sun. The little sun that they get here in Sheffield anyway. This is one of my favourite plants as well, Ficus elastica, but it's a ruby edition, so you get kind of ruby coloured leaves. So this.
You can't have too much of a good thing. That's why USAA has continued to grow for over 100 years to provide the military community with exceptional insurance and banking options. Because at USAA, we take care of our own.
Tired of trying new cleaners? Trust Soft Scrub for a powerful clean that's gentle on surfaces.
Garden of Life. Formulas for feeling alive. Now this, Biolage Hypersource, is none of the bad BS and all of the good BS. Biolage science. Microdosed to give my hair exactly what it needs. Mwah! Love you. Biolage Professional Hair Spa. Hi. Mama. Oh, sorry. Okay.
I'm sorry, we'll be quick. Sorry, no changing tables.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't get out of work.
Sorry, you're doing great. The world of parenting could use a lot less sorry and a lot more support. See how Gerber is lightening the load to create a more parent-friendly world at Gerber.com.
So this is the last bamboo shelving unit in this conservatory. So I showed you the amaryllis at the start that was blooming, the red flowers on the table. And I planted these two at more or less the same time. And for some reason these are further behind. They are growing, as you can see. This one is starting to show itself, and this one is just beginning to as well. Just a couple of flower spikes just shooting through. Must be to do with light or temperature or something like that. They were in different spots in the old house. Maybe that one was getting warmer temperatures or more light or something like that. Monstera albo, which so far is doing okay for me. Wouldn't really recommend this plant to most people though, because of the big white patches of the leaves. They do go brown. They can't photosynthesize. They need green to photosynthesize the plants. There's another anthurium. This had a great big old yellow leaf not too long ago. I cut it off. This is the newest leaf. Starting to get a little bit damaged there. There's an inflorescence. What else have we got in here? Oh, I've got a fern here. This is a new addition to me. I've never had this type of fern. Can't remember what type it is. Wonder if there's a label. Asparagus fern. Huh. Of course it is. Very nice. Not technically a fern, is it? Asparagus fern. That's very frilly. I'm waiting to see if that'll go crispy on me. I don't think it will. It's getting protection from the sun, from all this the bamboo shelving units and all the plants on it. And then right in the corner there, I do have ginger growing. I've got a growing edibles course that you can check out if you wanted to. I'll show you how to grow things like ginger and whatnot. I've got a nice, just show you this as well, Peperomia raindrop. I seriously cut back because it was very leggy. It was quite about that tall. I cut it right back. It's grown lots of new stems and leaves. So it looks very, very healthy indeed. Hey, if you're enjoying this video so far, then why not give it a thumbs up or a share? Make the YouTube algorithm God smile on me. So what we got here, firstly, I didn't point out, I've got my Monstera Adansonia there, growing on a trellis. You can find the details of that in the description to this video. Got another bamboo shelving unit here with green-orange plant at the top. So this doesn't really like having lots of lights because you tend to get brown or blackening leaves. You can just start to see it on there. So that's why it's in this spot here, the wall there, blocking all the sun. So all this space here doesn't get any direct light or sunlight, indirect sunlight, whatever you want to say. It doesn't get any light coming through, which is why the grow light game has started, more or less. So I've got my Nepenthes here, which is looking a little bit ropey actually. Normally it doesn't give me any trouble. There are new traps appearing, so these are pictures or traps that insects will go into to get the sweet nectar, and then they'll get trapped in there, and then the digestive enzymes in these traps will digest it and it'll give the plant nitrogen. That's how it works. Pretty morbid, isn't it? Aglaonema, which is quite nice. Really got me a bit of tired, but got some leaf damage because I did have this grow bulb, Sansi grow bulb, too close to the leaf, and it went yellowing and brown. Got my Philodendron Brazil. I've always been pruning back as I'm demonstrating pruning for this channel. I'm always kind of doing it on this plant, but it doesn't mean there's lots of new growth points. This is a really gorgeous plant. Very tricky to look after though. It feels very light actually. I need to give this a drink. This is the Marble Queen Pothos. Because it's so white, the leaves struggles to photosynthesize and they go black and brown. I do need to give that a drink. I've got another type of fern down there. Another beautiful Aglaonema on this rather nice kind of stand, plant stand. Got this from a local antique store. Quite cheap. It was only £20 I think, maybe £30. I've got a type of Hoya on this burlap hanging thing here. On this little bracket that I've got here that is looking a little bit ropey. And I've got a snake plant down here. So snake plants can tolerate lower light. They won't necessarily thrive, but they can tolerate lower light. That just seems to be doing okay there. Over here, I've got a nice console table here. This is in my old house. So I had some plants on it before in the old house, and I've done exactly the same thing in the new place. With this IKEA, can't remember the exact type of lamp it is. IKEA lamp with a Sansi bulb, grow bulb, shining over these plants, Alocasia dragon scale, which if you watch the moving video that I did, you would have seen me drop another plant onto this bad boy, so I did lose a couple of new growth points, but it does seem to be bouncing back. There's a new leaf sprouting there, which is good. Philodendron verrucosum on a trellis again, just a smaller, younger plant, so that's climbing up that nicely. This is a really interesting snake plant, a Star Canyon granite. Very, very thick, kind of firm, very, very firm leaves. Interesting colour on it as well. Dead easy to look after, even more so than any other snake plants. And I've got a little Alocasia, baby Alocasia, that's living in pond, which I think needs, oh no, it's okay. So it encourages the roots to grow into the pond. Seems quite healthy. I'll show you the mother plant in a sec. And then down here, I've got a Ficus elastica that is struggling a little bit because I overwatered it in the old house. It's losing a few leaves because of that. There's a sopping wet mess in the root ball. I cut it out. My mistake, not doing my checks properly. Moving on to this little area here. So just into the kind of sitting area where the TV is. Got a nice Philodendron verrucosum. So this is what a Philodendron verrucosum can turn into if you have it on a moss pole, climbing up something. So it's on a moss pole, the roots are growing into the moss, sizing up the leaves nicely. Doesn't look the best. Some of the leaves are going yellow and brown, not really sure why. I suspect it might be a pest issue. So I did see a pest on there in my old house a couple of months ago. I've been treating it with pesticides, so but there might be a couple more lingering on there. But there's a new leaf unfurling. There's a fungus gnat there I'll get rid of. Moss poles are magnets for fungus gnats, at least in my house anyway. That leaf's going all funny. Not really sure why, from my position of it, but I've been moving it around, so I think that's why the leaves are a little bit crooked. So it's now settled in this spot with this globium grow light shining over it, so it should now start growing. I'll have to extend the moss pole as well. This is a new addition for me, a type of alocasia. Let's see if I've still got the tag to remember its name. I do. It is Alocasia platinum maybe. But this is a very handsome plant. Nice colouring of the leaves. A light blue, greeny, grey colour. So far, not a blemish since I got it. Got that from Grow Tropicals, which are linked in the description to this video, all my videos. This is the infamous Philodendron melanocrisis. This is a baby one. And again, the leaves are not unfurling correctly. They're having a hard time unfurling. I always find this with Philodendron melanocrisis. Over here I've got a Pothos Devil's Ivy on one of these burlap moss poles. That was just one I bought from the shop like that. I wouldn't normally recommend a burlap moss pole because the elbow roots can't really grow into it. I've got an umbrella plant, a Pothos Enjoy, and then again, there's another Pothos. This is I think this is the same plant as the Philodendron Brazil, but without the variegation. Which I bought this recently, I'm not really sure why, I'm not completely enamoured with it, but it's in a nice pot anyway. So again, this is quite a nice sunny spot. The conservatory was just round there, so we've come round into the seating area. So the sun is going to be, it's over there at the moment, just over there, it's 10:30 in the morning. So by about 1 o'clock, it will start shining down onto here, onto these plants here. So it's got good light position here, so there's no need for any grow lights in this area. One of my biggest plants here, is that a bug on there? Is that just a bit of crust? My Ficus elastica rubber plant, and this is one of my oldest plants. In fact, I think it might be my oldest plant. I think it's a teenager at this point. I've cut it back a few times, and quite tall, nearly as tall as me. I'm 6'6", and eventually might reach the top of there because it's in a nice bright spot. Ficus elastica love light, so the more light you give it, the taller it will grow. This stem might have to cut back, it's getting a bit leggy, maybe a little bit top heavy. But anyway, this I really love. My Pothos, I think this is a Devil's Ivy, might be a marble green. But look at the variegation on that bad boy, and the leaves are sizing up beautifully on this moss pole. Again, just a plastic cage that I've got from Amazon filled with moss, that's all it is. And the air roots successfully growing into it, into the back of it. And it's just really taken to it beautifully. One of my favourite plants this, love how it's growing. It's getting good light down here. This is in a terracotta pot. And then, over here, so we just come across the living room, TV's there. I've got my, getting attacked by this plant behind me. I've got my money tree, which is doing well, got some new growth points here. It is a bit further away from the light, it's a good 2 or 3 meters. So this guy, in the summer, is only really going to get like sunlight on its leaves, probably very late or early evening, I would say, as the light will shine through here, I imagine. It's winter as I'm filming this, of course. But yeah, money plants just kind of just sit there and do their thing, as long as you give them enough water and all that kind of stuff. And this guy is probably, I think it's my newest plant, this one. This is a present that my mum and dad, mummy and daddy, got for me. A Kentia palm. I've requested a Kentia palm. Just seeing if there's a bug on there, I don't think it is. I got this online because looking around the shops, when you look in a shop for a Kentia palm or any other palm, they've always got bugs on them. And so I requested a Kentia palm from my mum and dad for my birthday, and they sent me this rather large specimen, and there's no bugs on it, touch wood. Then we have over here, got a little table here next to my sofa here, one of my sofas. I'm actually going to replace these sofas with newer ones. These are from the old house, and because we've got two kids, they're a bit stained, a bit of a mess, so we'll have to replace them. There's a big old water stain on there. I won't show you it because it looks a bit grim. But anyway, my plant nemesis, Caliphaea zebrina. It's always looked a bit ropey during winter. So far it's not looking too bad. There's good crispy leaves. For any Caliphaea, I highly recommend water conditioner. Just to get rid of the chlorine in your tap water. A couple of drops is all you need. Lasts forever. A bottle does. Nice pepperoni obtusifolia. Variegated. That's a nice handsome plant. This is another new addition. This is a Dracaena marginata. Marginata. I think that's how you say it. But never really been a fan of Dracaenas. But it's growing on me. Quite like it. It helps that it's in a nice pot as well.
Extensionist Mascara by L'Oreal Paris for lashes that rise 5 millimeters closer to your brows. You'll want it.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Unfortunately, I did not check just how permanent my body pain was. So, yeah, check Allstate first. You saved hundreds.
I'm a style editor and a mom, and in order to do both well, I need to be efficient. So when I finally upgraded my tired laundry room, I doubled up on the bespoke AI laundry combos from Samsung. Unlike a traditional washer and dryer, these are all in one. And the fact that I got two means that I get to do whites and darks at the same time. One combo, very chic. Two, iconic.
Sprouts Myth number 3. It's just another grocery store.
With fresh organic produce everywhere, it's a bit like a wellness retreat.
Sprouts Myth number 45. They don't carry the weird stuff I'm into.
Oh, we've got your weird stuff covered.
Sprouts Myth number 1. I'm not a Sprouts person.
If you like fresh finds and better for you discoveries, you're probably a Sprouts person.
And here we have another built-in shelving unit. Got some personal photos on it, so that's why I've got this angle, so you can't quite see it. But anyway, I've got a nice marble queen. Is it marble queen? No, satin buffos. It's got a crispy bit there. I'll get rid of that. Not sure why that's happened. Put that on there. But anyway, it's got long flowing locks. Reasonably healthy. Feels a bit light, so maybe it needs a drink. Maybe that's why it's getting a bit crispy around the edges. So it's in a nice Elho, I don't know how you say that, pot with a nice shape to it. Having pots is a real game changer, good pots for your plants. Highly recommend it. I'm trying to phase out boring ones like this. The pot is just great with this little pink Photonia into more interesting ones like this guy. This is another pepperoni obtusifolia. This is a cutting. It's in a nice pot. I've got a couple of snake plants. Got this bushy specimen. Got a snake plant video on the channel. I'll show you how to make a bushy specimen like this. Hunt it out if you wish. Over here I've got quite a nice setup. I've got another console table. Nice teal colour. I think it's a teal colour. With some bits and pieces on. I've got this floor lamp. Too close to the plants there. Just been moving around as I've been filming this video. So it's a floor lamp with a Sansi grow bowl in it. The 36-watt bulb it is. So it's a nice, powerful, juicy specimen. I've got it shining over these 3 plants, mainly alocasias, because I'm trying to stop them going dormant during winter. This is a new type of alocasia. I thought I had a tag. Well, I do have a tag. I've got a tag in here to tell you which type of alocasia it is. Watsoniana. Watsoniana. I'm terrible with names. But this is a cross between a Friday, which is next to it, and a black velvet, and a nice mustard pot. So this one's going quite well since I got it. I've lost a couple of leaves due to the transport in winter. This is the mother Frydek, Alocasia Frydek, which is hanging on for dear life. Normally by now it would have lost all its leaves, but because I've got this quite powerful grow light over it, it is hanging on. That's the newest leaf, I think. Maybe that is. That one looks nice and healthy. It's got pups growing out of the soil. And then over here, another philodendron melanocrisis. It's really called melanocrisis. I call it melanocrisis because it's always in crisis. I cut it back. I put the top piece somewhere. I'm not sure if I'll show you that actually, but I might put a B-roll clip in to show you the top half of this plant. I did chop and extend it. And I'm waiting for a new growth point to emerge, but it's not yet for some reason, so maybe it's just waiting for spring or something. Right, so we have now pretty much gone full circle. We're at the beginning of the living room anyway. That's the conservatory over there, so we've gone all the way around. Now on this black IKEA cabinet, we bought that ball from the old house. Got 3 plants. Got this rather nice celestial chard there, which I think looks quite nice. A Hoya Lisa, I think this is called, variegated leaves. This will take over any space that you have. So I've got it pretty much tucked away from anything else over here with a trolley plant stands or support behind it so you can climb all into it and all that kind of stuff. Philodendron new reds. I cut this back, I think it was on a chores video, maybe December, maybe November. Cut it right back to propagate it because it was a bit of a floppy mess. It's grown a new leaf, so that propagation was successful. What isn't successful though is this ZZ plant. As you can see, the stems have gone all floppy. I think it must be overwatering, which is a bit of a shame. If you overwater your ZZ plant, the rhizomes rot and then the stems weaken. So that main stem looks like it's going to fall off because they're going yellow. So that's a bit of a shame. So that is the living room. I think now we'll take you through to the hallway. I'll just show you the kitchen. Before I show you the kitchen, actually, let me just show you my office. This is where the magic happens. All that kind of magic though. But got my desk there, obviously. I've got my kind of big shelving unit there to put all my filming junk or equipment. And then you might be wondering why I've got these plants down here on the floor. These are my naughty plants. These are plants that have got pests on. So I think these have all got little aphids on them. So I've been spraying them down. Looks like they're gone now. Well, I've killed them off. But when you see a pest problem on a plant, it's a good idea to isolate it from the rest of your collection. I've got this zebra plant here, which is gorgeous. It's a new plant, but it got aphids. So I think these 2 here, I bought them new from the store, but I didn't obviously check my plants well enough. So I think I brought aphids back into my house. It spread to a couple of other plants, namely this one, Califane Maciana. There's a few aphids on here. They always attack the newest leaf. But looks like they've gone now, so I might be able to reintegrate it back into the rest of the house. So I'm always growing little bits and pieces, like cuttings and from leaves and stems and whatnot. And I often end up with plant pots like this that look a little bit ugly. Just basically pots of dirt with a leaf in there. And Mrs. Shackle wasn't too keen on that. She said, can you get rid of them basically? And I said, no, What I will do, I'll put them all in one place, out of the way, so you can't really see them. So they're in my office now, on this kind of shelving unit here. I mean, this is the ugliest of the uglies, isn't it? A perlite propagation box. Lots of cuttings in there, all rooting successfully. That's on the shelving unit. I've got these two Santi grow lights shining over because the sun will come round, but it's kind of blocked off by what's going on in there and this wall here. So to give it an extra boost of light, got these Santi grow lights. Propagations or cuttings seem to grow roots much quicker under a grow light. Got a philodendron melanocrysis variegated edition that cut right back. It's growing two new growth points, which is good. String apart cuttings that just little leaf cuttings that I put into the soil. They're now growing new stems. This is a mixed pothos planter that I tried to make. I did this in a recent chores video, but some of these aren't doing too well for some reason. Don't think that one's buried in enough. So I might have to sort that out. And then up here I've got my orchids that are kind of resting after blooming. The idea when your orchid finishes blooming, you want to not that yet for this one. This is finished blooming, I think, more or less. There's no sign of any new spikes coming through. You want to cut it right back. And the aim of the game is for it to grow new leaves, which is what's happening with this guy. New leaves so it can recharge its battery for growing new flowers next year. Welcome to the kitchen. This is where me and Mrs. Sheffield cook up a storm. So I don't really have too many plants in here. I do have a poinsettia over there that is looking a bit ropey. I did that for the December chores video. It was in a bit of a bad state. I said it wouldn't last, and it doesn't look like it's going to last much longer. I've got kind of a rehabbing station. Let me show you. So we're not quite finished with the bamboo shelving units. Got one more in this kitchen. Bit of a breakfasting nook here, I guess you would call it. Sounds a bit poncy, but there you go. So as you can see, it was someone's birthday recently. We have 3 birthdays in the family in December, which is why we've got all that going on. So, Peace Lily, one of my oldest plants, looking a little bit ropey not long ago, which is why it developed these brown leaves. But I put it in this spot here, and it seems to be bouncing back. New growth is coming through the middle, so that's good. Other than that, I've also got this Transcantia tricolor, which is a beautiful plant, rapid grower, fastest growing plant, I reckon. House plant, beautiful variegated leaves. But other than those two, this is kind of a propagation station again. I've managed to sneak one into the dining room, kind of tucked away in this corner. Gets reasonably good light, but it is protected from the kind of conservatory of my office building there. So it only gets late afternoon sun as it comes around. There's also a couple of trees blocking the light. So it's ideal for propagation. So I've got here some ZZ plant cuttings. There's one there, which looks like it's going to go by the wayside, unfortunately. With some pothos cuttings there, Peperonia santorini, devil's ivy, got some jades, got a philodendron manii cutting. Is that mealybugs? No, that is perlite. Cute. Oh, there's a new growth point coming through, so that's good. That is happy as Larry, as they say. And then, as I mentioned earlier, the begonia, the red flame begonia, these are a couple of cuttings that I took from that. So the main leaves at the top are still nice and firm. But as you can see, some leaves are going by the wayside. But I'm not too panicked about that. That one's probably going to go as well. Because we've still got a couple of healthy leaves. The last time I did this to my last begonia, Rex begonia, it looked on death's door, and then all of a sudden it perked right up and it sent out loads of new leaves. So as long as there's a couple of leaves still alive, we should be okay. And then in here, just got a bunch of cuttings that I've plunked into this mason jar. Got an aglaonema there. I've got a fiddle leaf fig, a couple of pothos. So that is it. So that is that little propagation station, and that concludes this houseplant tour showing you all the plants in my house. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then give it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you in the next video.
You can't have too much of a good thing. That's why USAA has continued to grow for over 100 years to provide the military community with exceptional insurance and banking options. Because at USAA, we take care of our own.
It's December and winter is well and truly here. I don't know about you, but some of my plants are struggling for the lack of light, and we'll cover that in this video. But plants do continue to grow in winter despite what you might have read or heard, and that means there is always things to do. So I'm going to show you the things that I'm doing with my plants and why. And we're starting with a string of hearts. So I've got this string of hearts on this shelf here, just underneath this grow light. Having a grow light on top of the plant at the base is important, because otherwise they go a little bit bare if you haven't got enough light at the top, so that's a top tip. But as you'll see, these stems are quite long and lanky. They're nearly touching the floor. You'll also notice that they're all twisted as well, which is always the case with a string of hearts. They're an absolute nightmare plant, so I just leave them be now. I don't bother trying to untangle or anything. But when the stems are nearly reaching the floor, you need to get your pruners out, like these. Just go through and just snip. Don't need to be too delicate about it. So I'm just going to snip along there like so. Take these off. So that evens up the plant. And then the beauty of doing this as well is that the stems will branch out. So you get more than one branch from where you made the cut. So you end up with a nice bushy plant basically. So these should all branch out. And then with these cuttings that we took, we don't want to chuck these out. I'm going to show you what to do with these in the other room. So I have my string of hearts stems, and I've just spent the last 10 minutes or so just unpicking them, untangling them. So I've got individual stem pieces like that. And what we want to do, we want to find the leaves and just cut before and after each of the leaves, sets of leaves, so that you end up with a little piece like that. So I'm going to go through and do that for all of these. So what we are now left with are lots of cuttings that we could propagate from and create a brand new string of heart plant. And for that, I've got this clear plastic pot, which is a bit taller than your average pot, which is good for the string of hearts to start flopping over, which is what you want. So I've just pre-filled it with Cybertanica soil, and I've pre-moistened it as well. All you want to do is just lay them on top of the soil. Just try and get the stem piece touching the soil if you can. It doesn't necessarily need to be buried that much, but just go through and press the little cuttings into the soil, and they will root dead easily. This is how you propagate a string of hearts. So in lots of cases, to get a bushier string of hearts, we can take a stem piece that's growing down the side of the pot, bring it back up and wrap it into the soil, just rest it on top. And at each leaf node, roots will grow into the soil. And that's how you get a bushy crown of the plant, basically. So you can either do that that way with the propagation, or you can take little individual cuttings like this, which is what I tend to do. I just find it a bit easier to place into the soil like I'm doing here. Okay, so I like to pack it quite full, because you won't get 100% success rate. You will get a couple that die, but generally, if you pack it nice and full, you get a nice healthy plant at the top. So this will start growing. Once I put it somewhere nice and bright, start growing new stems, new roots, and we'll have a nice string of hearts clone. You might have a Pitonia in your home, like this guy, that you want to clone because it's a beautiful plant, isn't it? But you might be a bit worried about the lack of humidity during winter, so you might put it off until next year. But that would be a shame because we do like to do things during winter to our houseplants, and I've got a cheeky little hack that will guarantee the success of your cuttings. So I have my Pitonia here. I'm just locating a nice healthy stem piece just hanging off the side because it's easier to cut. I'm just going to cut underneath where a leaf is growing, like so. So I'll get a nice piece like that. Put that to one side. We don't need it any longer. So there'll be lots of leaves coming out of this stem. So we just want to remove the bottom few leaves because when we plant these up, if they're in the soil or water, whatever we're doing, and they're going to rot basically. So we just want a nice clean stem piece like so with some leaves at the top, and then I've got myself a little pot like so filled with Botanica Universal Mix. You can get a 10% discount with the link in the description, by the way. It's all their soil. So I've pre-moistened it, and then I'm going to stick the stem piece without dropping it in the middle like so. Press the soil around, and then it's got a bit of a leaf broken off there, no big deal. So that's in there nicely. I've already watered it, so there's no need to water it. And then this is where the magic happens. I've got myself a jar, this is an old jam jar. So to prevent it drying out in your home, with the heating on, etc., you can pop it onto the lid like so. And then put that over the top and then screw it on. And that has created the perfect humidity environment for that plant to grow roots and then grow new stems. So once it starts growing new leaves and new stems and reaches the top of this container, you can simply just take it off and then let it grow as it normally would. So in winter, our plants can start to look a bit ropey, can't they? Can I get an amen? That's exactly what is happening to this Caliphate elbow grass. As you can see, it's got some floppy yellowing leaves. A lot of them have gone crispy brown like that one. And just generally it's looking a bit like a dog's dinner, isn't it? And to a beginner, they might see this and want to chuck it out into the bin. But a quick tidy up and we'll get this guy looking its former glory. I'll show you what to do. Here she is, as easy as that, looks as good as new. So I took off a fair few amounts of leaves, anything that was yellow or browning I just took off with my snippers. I showed no mercy whatsoever. So I think the problem with this plant was that it was too bushy. So getting rid of all the leaves that were dying off has opened it up. It's created more airflow to get into the plant and more light as well. So we should now start to see lots of new growth. There is new growth coming through in the middle, which is a good sign. It's not dying, but just basically I haven't got around to pruning it back. It's looking much healthier now. Got my Monstera albo here, which is a beautiful but slightly problematic plant because of the large white sections going brown, but that's a story for another day. But this guy is looking a little bit floppy, a little bit unsupported, isn't he? So I like to support all my monsteras these days, give them something to climb up. So they've got these aerial roots in the back of the stem, and they want to attach onto something to then climb up to support as they grow higher and higher, taller and taller. So this guy needs support, and I've got just the thing for it. A support system that I absolutely love, that I use on lots of my plants, is this trellis. This is called Gazella. You'll be able to find it on the website. You can get a 10% discount with my link in the description. I like using these to support my plant because it looks attractive. But where should we put the stake? So basically a Monstera will have the front and the back. The front is where the leaves will face, and then the back is where the aerial roots will come out of the stem. And that's where you want the stake to be, up against the arrow roots. Sometimes it won't look quite so black and white, because as in this case here, I've got my two arrow roots facing kind of behind me now, and then the leaves are kind of veering off to the side. That must just be where the light has been shining on it, facing that way. But to correct that, all we need to do is put our stake in the soil up against where the arrow roots are coming out of the back of the stem, like so. There you go. So it's dead easy with this trellis because they've got nice feet to put into the soil, rubber coated. And then just to make sure that the plant knows that it's there, I like to tie it on using this green Velcro tape that you can just buy online from Amazon probably. So I'm going to pop that through that hole there, anchor it nice and tightly, like so. There we go, much better. So now that plant knows that this trellis is there, and it will start attaching its arrow roots to the wood, and it'll start growing taller and taller. On this shelving unit behind me, I have my spider plant, which is looking absolutely glorious. So this guy is fairly new to the home. I've had it about 3 or 4 months, something like that. And it was flowering the other day. It's since gone by the wayside now. First time a spider plant has flowered in my home. But as well as the flowers, they're also producing lots of these pups all around the plant. Little baby pups that sprout from the mother. Quite interesting feature of this plant. So you can either leave them on the plant, which is quite a good thing to do because they look quite nice, don't they? Quite interesting. Or you can do something else with them. So with the pups that this plant is growing, we can easily cut these off to grow new spider plants. That's basically what these are for. So we can take a couple of cuttings. I'm just going to do 2 into 1 pot, like so. I don't need that anymore. So if you look on your spider plant pup, you should start to notice the beginnings of some roots growing at the bottom of where these the leaves are coming out of these pups. So I've got myself a little pot filled with some type of soil. So I've pre-moistened it. Just grip my stick